Okay, so I have a couple of different things I want to talk about today. Not different than I usually talk about, just things that are different from each other. So I'll see if I can keep them straight. So, one of the things, so yesterday, well, I took another Tylenol this morning. The other day I took one, the day that I was like, I was desperate for anything, and I ended up taking Tylenol. And it's like, I don't want to take any of their pharmaceuticals. But man, you just get so desperate. It's like, so annoying. But I took another one today because it just, I don't get it. It will stop. I can't even tell you how much I've rubbed it. I've been rubbing Dragon's Balm. I've been doing everything. And then it will stop for a while, and then it will just go right back into this spasm where, you can't move your head, you can't move your arm. But the other day when I took a Tylenol, I got up, I did like, oh my gosh, I did so much stuff and I didn't even notice it hurting. So I'm hoping that this is going to work again. I still, man, I feel out of it. And I know yesterday, even when they were doing the spraying, all of a sudden that same thing happened where I just couldn't keep my eyes open. And I laid down on the couch and I was listening to the waterfalls. And I was just out, totally out. But before that happened, Stella was just harassing me and harassing me. She wanted to go outside and she always wants me to go. And it's like the same crap. Like it was supposed to even be our day that wasn't rainy. And it's just overcast and so cold. So cold. I kept telling her I can't handle it. It's too cold. But finally, I don't know, it was like around 2 or something. I went, I put all the cushions on the furniture, went and sat outside, and we're sitting out there. And the neighbors get home from school. And it has got to be, I think, it has got to be the last day of school. Oh man, people who are caught up in the program, in the system, they're so regimented into it. Like, because this is a first grader and a preschooler. I was like, so the other day they couldn't go to school because they had a cough. So they stayed home. I don't remember how I know that, but somehow the neighbor told me that for a reason. And so yesterday they went, I think yesterday and the day before. So they missed the first part of the week, which this is the last week. What do they do? I mean, what do you even do in preschool? Like, you miss story time. So they couldn't go because they had a cough. And so they went ahead and went yesterday and the day before. And so I'm just like, okay, whatever. And then yesterday, so I was sitting outside when they got back. And this is the only reason I even know this is because I was sitting outside. So I heard the little one walking up, and she had this horrible sounding cough, like really horrible. And I was like, weird. So they wouldn't let her go to school because she had a cough, but now she's coming home with a cough that sounds like that. Like she sounds like she needs to be in bed. Like what the hell? So I just didn't say anything. It was starting to get sprinkly already. So I just started gathering my stuff up and went in and turned on the waterfall and lay down on the couch and just conked out. I was out. And then I even heard my phone ding, but I thought it was my daughter. And so I thought, I'll just look at it when I wake up. I'm way too tired. I can't even open my eyes. And so then when I got up, I saw that it was the neighbor, and she had taken them to the hospital because the little one that was doing that weird cough started having problems breathing. I'm pretty sure she's a preemie, so I'm pretty sure she spent time in the hospital when she was tiny, and she's had other times with breathing problems. And so she took her to the ER and stuff, and she didn't make it to the ER. She went to urgent care on the way, and then it was packed full. She said it was packed. They couldn't take anybody else, but since it was a child, they would go ahead and triage her. And once they had triaged her, they had told her she needs to go to the ER because they think she has pneumonia and she needs x-rays, and they couldn't do them there. So she had to go to the ER. Well, they weren't there this morning. They're still in the hospital, so she must have got admitted But the whole thing is, it with the same thing with my brother. Like, I called, I didn't even call him. I just sent a voicemail or a voice message. You can do that on iPhone to iPhone. You can send a little audio thing. So I had sent him one and I said, I have all this research of med beds and stuff. I know you got to go through your Western medicine situation. I already learned, but, I've got all this information if you want any, because, people are going in these med beds and coming out with no tumors and no acknowledgement whatsoever. And then yesterday got that long message to, I don't even know who all was on it. It was a whole bunch of little circles and stuff at the top. But like, this is the updating thing. I'll be in the hospital these days. Don't respond to this one. This is only updates and blah, blah, blah. And so, I was just sitting there going, man, even when I was talking to the neighbor, and she had told me, I don't remember why she was telling me that they didn't go to school because of the cough. They weren't allowed. And then they went. But to me, like, our conversations would be so different with either of these people if they weren't in the matrix so tightly. Like, you can't talk to people on a level that either of us understand. Because to me, I know she wants me to have conversations, like about, school and school rules and whatever, like, they're caught up in this certain thing to the point a preschooler is sick and needs to be at school for her last day. Is that going to be her last day? Like, it's so weird to me. Like, it's so important to start this indoctrination programming out so early for kids, and to the point where parents are like desperate to get them there. It just really, really weirds me out, man. I don't even know how to explain all the things that I'm seeing in my head about both of these things, and not just about them, but just about sickness and people and their consciousness and their they're giving their control over to this system. And, before, when I was talking about the people who are stuck in the three-dimensional thing, in that, I think it was the Allison Code thing that I was listening to, and she was saying that it's going to become so mundane and so just drudgery, and everything is going to be pushing them out of that little safety creation that these people are living in, or whatever, which to me, that is happening currently. You have a 2-year-old, like, because my opinion of the hospitals or any of the medical stuff is not good. So, and these people who are relying on it, that is crazy to me. For one thing, if I had a little kids, and I would have already pulled them out of school. Like, I already said that months ago. Like, there wouldn't even be any of this stuff. Like, I got to go and take them to this stuff. I would have already started building up, kid community stuff, like talking to other mothers. And it's weird because I know she's in a lot of mother groups, but I would be talking to other mothers and trying to figure out ways to build homeschool groups and stuff like that. Like, and I'm so over their diplomas and pieces of paper. It's only has value that we give it. And then they have no value. Like, literally, they have no value. Just like their currency has no value. There's nothing these people have that has value. And, what's weird too is, because, like, in my family, and I'm trying to talk to them and trying to make sense. Even when I was talking to my mom this weekend when I was there, I mean, her attitude has also shifted to, well, I don't think anything's going to happen. I doubt anything's going to happen in my life. I'm going to probably just die, I don't know. It's a surrender, because everything has to do with your consciousness and your ability to know your own power as a consciousness. And I, this is just such an evolution, a revolution, but an evolution of expansion for your consciousness. And yeah, I don't know. There's lots of people who just aren't there yet. And so it is, and it's weird too, but see, that is about religion and stuff. Like, where is your trust? Where is your faith? Where is you trust this Holy Spirit Savior with your life? Then why do you think that things aren't going to turn around and be better? Why do you think that this stuff is not for your betterment? You know what I mean? But, they don't. And so I was just thinking this morning, it's so weird because, I'm like the black sheep. I'm the weirdo, the one who believes all this stuff, who literally believes it. And just talk about it. I believe it in my heart, my soul. And so I was just thinking, it's so weird because it is part of the upside down, this whole thing where they think all their information is so accurate. Like there's nothing else to do but go to a hospital and have them cut open your brain and take out chunks of stuff to analyze it, to tell you if you're gonna die or something. Like that's your only thing you got going here. That's it. That's all you got. And if I think something different than that, then I'm the outsider. I'm the outcast, even though I know that system is ending and a new one is beginning. And I see it as I'm on the forefront of the beginning because I'm open-minded and I see past the illusion. So I can see the future. I can see where we're headed. I can see that our healing is going to be changing. And it's going to be a lot more of us directing it with our own power and stuff. So, and it's so much about still with that thing, what I talked about of the frustration when you can see things, but you can't say anything. You have to just allow these people to learn it for themselves. And it really puts it in your head, like, why am I in these situations? And every situation you're in is so you can learn from it. So you got to be open to what you're learning. So I think a lot of this stuff isn't so much about what I'm supposed to learn from it, but it is about I'm supposed to share about it. I'm supposed to share this information because I don't have to convince you of anything about any of it. Because once I share it, it goes inside of you, it processes, and you take out the parts that resonate, and then you just forget about the rest. And then that's how stuff spreads. So it isn't like, it's more organic like that, And I know that the stuff I'm saying is right. I just know. And I keep seeing more and more confirmation over everything that I see and say and stuff. So, and, when this, because when you are on, to me, like the right side or the positively charged side or whatever, because they're all attached to the negatively charged side, but they believe it's the positive charged side because it's in the upside down. So when this flips over, like, it's going to happen. The pendulum will swing back. The pendulum can't keep going one direction. It has to swing back. It's the natural order of things. There is movement and there is, it's just the way things move. It's just how energy works. So when that switches upside down, all of a sudden it will be where they will see, like, I was saying the truth. And it's going to be a humbling experience for a lot of people. I know I've talked about this so much, and I have not changed one bit of how I see this and how humbling it's going to be for the people who have bullied some of us by telling us that we're crazy and stuff. And when things switch and go upside down or go right side up and they see that we were speaking the truth, they just couldn't hear it because they were so indoctrinated and programmed. So I think, that is going to be kind of a shock for some of them. There was something, I have so many things in my head that I wanted. There was something, let's see, I think I already talked about the cows, that whole cow situation. I mean, they've got so many things going. And I swear to God, it is so much about just creating fear. Like, it's just about, look at how much the buildup is. I mean, I think they've got like 28 plants now. They've gone in and killed millions of chickens and cows all over the place. And I mean, they're just, well, I mean, they're killing the forest, they're killing the animals, they're killing everything, they're killing us. So everything they're doing is, it's happening right now. Like, we're in the middle of it. And they're not going to stop until something happens, until things switch to go the other way. I don't know what is going to make it switch and go the other way. Because even while things are being disclosed and people are seeing the truth, it's just causing more panic and fear because people haven't empowered themselves to know that they can take care of themselves. And this is the system exposing itself to show what its true nature is, what its true intention is. And it's not good for any of us. So you have to wake up and see it and make choices for yourself of what is best for you. Relying on this system is not best for anybody. But there was something, it keeps on like coming in. And it was the main thing I was even going to talk about. And it's so hard to think when you have so much pain inside. And I was doing oh my gosh, I was doing so much healing stuff. There's been so much different things in my house, like suddenly falling and all of those kinds of things, which I always look at it as, I don't just look at it as like, oh, it's a haunting. I just look at it as like energy moving through or following you around or whatever. Because energy can get attracted to you, just like what I was talking about with like at the mall. If you're all like depressed and sad and you go walking through the mall, energy that's attracted to that will attach to you. And that's why you're dragging around more negativities, which is harder to break free from when you've attracted more. Like if you're really down and depressed, it's better to not go be around more people who are down and depressed, because all of that energy, depending on who's vibrating where, will attach to the different, more comfortable place. So it all depends on vibration, all depends on energy, it all depends on where you're going around and who you're going around and stuff. But in all of that energy is kind of having to transmute and change, because it won't be able to go forward, but it can hold you back with your own acceptance and loving yourself and stuff. It can hold you back because it just feeds you negativity. And so yesterday or last night when I was hearing these crashes and stuff, I was like, oh, maybe that is one of the things. Maybe there's something that is attached to me, because I had gone to town. I was around all these different people. So it could have been something like that. And so I started doing a whole sage. I was saging myself. I was doing a whole ceremony telling them, any energy that is not here for, my mission or whatever, just needs to go. And I was thinking, that as our vibration raises, it won't be able to attach. Low vibration cannot raise its vibration and attach to a high vibration. But that is the point of why they keep keeping us in such low vibration, because they use the frequency weapons and all of their weapon, every bit of technology they have, they use it as a weapon to control and destroy us, destroy this planet. So, but there is shifts happening. And I think if you do these things and keep pushing this energy off of you and have awareness and discernment and just keep working on raising your vibration, it's like kind of moving out of that toxic kind of environment. And I saw yesterday, one of the things I saw was this guy talking about Elon Musk. And I really like this guy. I don't know who he is, but he's always talking about flat earth stuff, and he's always saying funny things. But he was talking about Elon Musk, and, I mean, he's quite obviously one of the NWOs. And he showed him going to the Met Gala, and on the back of his jacket, he had a whole Latin thing written on the back, and it was New World Order, if you translated it. So he is about, putting something in our brain or whatever. I've heard a lot of things about him now. So, but I wouldn't follow anybody. I wouldn't trust anybody to that extent. I won't trust Trump to that extent. I'm not going to just do something because somebody says to do it. And, but I think it was that same one where he was showing because there's a lot of talk now where they're talking about the waters are all around us, and we are in a bubble. And he was talking about other planets that are in bubbles and stuff, other reality bubbles, and where there's no sun or something. There's so much information out there. The flat earth stuff is such a good place to start if you're just starting to figure out, like, this doesn't make any sense. There's weird stuff happening, because as soon as you start looking into that and you start seeing the lies and how really different this place is than what we've been told, that it just starts opening your mind. It's like you drop the cards, then now it's time to pick them up. Once you open your mind, then more stuff starts coming in, and there's just so much lies around the globe, what they tried to teach us. And so the flat earth is really a great place to start. But again, it was showing the same thing with the map that I keep saying, and that those bodies, what we're told as planets, are bodies of land in the waters, and that there's waters all around us. And so when they're trying to go up there with ships, because he was showing footage of Elon Musk's launch or whatever, and you could see it went up to the top, and then it was just going across, like you could tell it was a firmament. It went up, and then it just started going across. And so it zoomed way in. And when you zoomed way in and you could see, it looked just like a boat going through water, like where a wake comes out. It looked just like that. So he's up at the top of the firmament, going across, and it looks like water shooting out. And so more things that I had learned about. So before they started saying they were going to do space exploration, they were already doing ocean. And that is where they had started. And so they were starting with exploration. Something happened apparently down in the water. I think they probably met up with some other beings, because there's realities everywhere. Just because you don't see the beings doesn't mean they're not there. Like, there is beings that live in the water. The ones that people think of as mermaids and mermen and stuff like that. There's actual beings that are aquatic who live in the water. And I'm pretty sure most of the beings that, besides us, and the reason we aren't is because we have to learn our abilities. But most of these beings, I believe, are multidimensional. Like, they can be seen or not seen. It depends on what they want, if they want you to see them or not. And I think we're going to learn more about how to control our own. And who knows, with some of those, like, if we're birthed into this reality, we're birthed in, and then it's so trippy. I wish I could explain some of the stuff, what they show me, because it's really, it's more fascinating than I can explain. So when you are birthed into the reality and you come into this avatar projection, because it's not even real, it's a projection, so that you can feel and experience, so you can understand what it feels like. So it's all like a virtual reality, really. So when, what was I talking about? So you get burst into the reality, and then you go in for the experience. But when some of these other like higher dimensional, where because it's all based on vibration and frequency. So I don't know that they necessarily have to be birthed into it, or if they can just go into different realities because of their vibration, because that's what a multidimensional, because their vibration, they can move through realities depending on their vibration. Like, and that is why I've talked about before, why they don't just come in here all the time. Like, what would be the point of it? And for them to come into a lower vibration, it takes more work to what is that called? To I don't know, make yourself be seen, to go into a form, a physical form of some sort. So that would be a lot of work to do. So I think that's what, they don't do it. And this thing keeps being in my head. I've got to see what this thing is. What was it? I know I was going to talk about it. Oh, one thing, when I was driving, it was so weird because once it got up to where there was a lot of camping, so up in the high mountains where there's lots of campers, which was way less than normal. And, I hadn't seen the fires, so I saw the fires, then I saw the next whole forest that they have poisoned. It's all ready to be burnt out. And then, but as we were driving, they kept stopping us, like I talked about. And it was so much like the Truman Show, because it just seemed so fake and artificial. So we would be driving, and then they would stop us every few minutes. And it didn't make any sense, because if you're painting stripes, why would you do it like this? It felt so controlled. And then you think about like controlled, but it is to be defeatist, like to, keep using these people's gas to make them sit there, keep having there be problems. So it's kind of like just forcing them to not vacation, like, oh, we're going to waste your time. We're going to waste your money. We're going to waste your gas. We're going to punish you. Because it was ridiculous. And it was so much like on the Truman Show, where he kept trying to get away, and there kept being, like all of a sudden there's a roundabout and there's traffic. All of a sudden there's this. That's what it exactly seemed like. Like everything in this world is so controlled. I don't think people really realize it. And then I know, I don't know. I've just got so many things. I'm just so frustrated that people just keep relying on the system for education, for medical care, for everything. Like, if they just would, like, to me, if the neighbor would just see, like, why is it so important for my little tiny kid to finish this pretend school thing, to the point where she's going to get sick, and now she's in the hospital. And, and then my brother, he's going to wait a couple weeks so they can cut into his damn brain. In brain surgery, from what I've always understood, and I don't know all the different ones, but the thing that tripped me out is a lot of brain surgery, you're wide awake. They have you awake because when they cut into there, they have to know what things, like they'll push on something and make sure they're in the right place. So they push on this, so you move your right hand, and they know they do this. So and your brain doesn't have nerves or something, so you don't feel it. But when they cut through your bones in your head, like that is loud, because they use a big some kind of big saw, circular saw or something, to cut the hole, to remove the part of your brain. And then they start poking around in there, cutting stuff. But the people will be sitting there awake, talking. It's like so weird. Yeah, the same with heart surgeries. It just sounds so horrible to me because they use like big tool things, like they cut through your whole chest. Then they use this expander thing to open it. So they just crack your ribs open and they flay you. And then they start cutting around in there. Like, especially, when you start getting into all this stuff and you start realizing that we were told we should have never let them cut into us. And I know every place I've ever let them cut into me, I've got some sort of nerve damage or something, because I don't believe we are supposed to let them cut into us. We're supposed to be doing healing, and that is part of the information that they hide from us. The abilities we have to heal ourselves and the importance of healing ourselves. And, yesterday I went out in the yard, and I don't know if I had already said I found all these mushrooms just growing overnight. So I was like, okay, I've got to get more into this foraging. I can't keep thinking, I need the grocery store. I have to start looking at the earth as giving me food and supplying things for me, not the corporation. So, and all these mushrooms popped up overnight. And so, and I get myself weirded out. Like, you hear these stories, like certain mushrooms, you touch them and then whatever gets on your hand and you die. So I kept thinking, okay, I'm not going to die before I'm supposed to die. So don't stress out about it. If I die from this, that's how it was supposed to go down. So I was out there, I picked some and I brought them in, and I was looking online and trying to figure it out. But a lot of mushrooms look similar to other mushrooms. So you have to go through these different steps. Like, does this match? Does this match? Does this match? And I kept finding all of these matches. And so then I was like, okay, so these are some sort of fairy ring. I can't remember. There's like 5 names for it. These mushrooms. And they're really good. They have some sort of enzyme or something in them that I can't remember what it's called, but it can dry out, and then you can put water on them and it will go back to its original form because of this enzyme that it rebuilds cells. So, that's exactly what we want in us, is something that rebuilds our cells. So and you can dry these out and reconstitute them, and they go back to perfect. So these ones are great for dehydrating, and they'll do it by themselves. You don't have to do anything. The guy that I was watching, he even said you could just string them and then hang them, which I do that with a lot of, like if I buy herbs or whatever at the store or get a bunch of herbs, I'll dry them a lot and then I'll put them into spice jars, because it's so hard to use the herbs up while, when you get them fresh. And so he said to do them like that. Right now I just have them laying out, and I have a bunch more I'm going to pick, and then I am going to dry them out and then keep them, and then you reconstitute them. He said they're great for soups and stuff like that. But they have they have good things for our bodies. But so I was doing all this research on them, I was looking up about them and stuff, and then and I posted on TikTok about it. And then I've had one person come in and they start telling me, oh my God, oh, don't touch those, don't eat them, they're poison, throw them away. I was like, well, I've looked into these and I've been researching, and they seem good to me. And then, that person didn't say anything else. And then I had another one come in and start doing the same thing and telling me that, it's so dangerous, and a lot of them can look the same. And so I was like, well, I was doing all of the different point tests. It says you got a few different point tests, and then you can tell which mushroom is which. So I was doing all of those, and it matched the one. And then this guy starts telling me, well, you got to do a spore test. This is why people die from this. You're going to die. You need to throw all those away. I was like, what in the hell? Can you imagine the arrogance? So I went on and looked at this guy's page, and it seems like he talks about foraging and growing your own food. And then he's like, oh, but I can't figure that out for myself. I can't go in and do the test and figure it out for myself. And, if I did eat a wrong mushroom and died, what does it have to do with him? Like, why are you coming in at me like this, dude? And because it wasn't just one message. This guy just, and I was like, okay. I just quit talking to him. I was just like, okay. He's telling me gather them all up and throw them away. No, I completely trust the research that I am doing as to, and, I can't even see good enough to see the spores. Like, I don't know what, to do a spore test, that is the only way, like, I don't know. I just find it irritating. And then I had another guy this morning start attacking me and telling me that if my reality is what I need, it was so condescending. It was like a pat on the head or whatever. It's like, why would you come in? It was a religious person. And it's like, why would you come in and say this stuff to me? And these people, it's like, you don't understand. It is multiple realities. Your reality will go to where you understand reality. It can expand to wherever it is you can expand to. There is no one set reality, just like there is no one set globe or one set flat earth. It is multidimensional, and goes through you. You are the processor. So it is how you perceive. It's so weird how people get themselves into these things and then they try and convince you that theirs is the right one. It's like, it's all different. There is no set thing. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then it just sounds crazy. But I know what I'm talking about. Like, I know some of this stuff. Like, I can just see it. I can see it in my what I'm shown. I still cannot get that thing that I keep seeing. Like, what is it that you're showing me? What is that? Well, I don't know. I'll probably be back in a minute because I've got to try and figure out what it was. I know there was something. I don't remember. It was something. So I'll just be back in a minute.